Oh, welcome back in to Earnshaw Radio. Nick Earnshaw taking you through the next half hour, 45 minutes. We'll talk some Birds. We're going to talk some Phils. And I got late game thoughts. Okay, Phils play at 10 o'clock tonight. You got 2 Monday Night Football games. I have opinions on that. I have opinions on those late games. We will definitely get into that. But make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Earnshaw Radio. Follow on Instagram, X, all the platforms as well. Tune in to all of the programs. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it, repost it, do whatever you got to do. Put it out there. That's what we need. We need to put it out there. We got all the best takes right here. Best takes. And we're going to run it all down right now. And first things first, let's get it started with the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. Eagles win 20-17 over the Chiefs on Sunday. Nice win. Okay. They got the W. That's all that matters. That's all that should matter. Okay. At this point, right? But there's a big discussion now. Once again, in the headlines is our favorite play, the tush push. Okay. And I can't stand the conversation around this. It's mostly like the Jalen Hurts discussion for me. And I sit back and I'm watching some of these people on television and some podcasters and all this stuff about their takes about the tush push. Everyone that's not a Philadelphia Eagle hates the tush push. Or if you're not an Eagles fan, etc., you hate the tush push because you can't do it. Nobody else in the league can do it but the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles ran it 7 times, and it worked, okay? The problem is, and I understand why, because I notice it too. Anyone with 2 eyes and can see, you saw it as well. There were guys jumping early, but that shouldn't, that's part of it. The officials got to call it. So now the problem was in the offseason, right, is when they were trying to ban it, they were 2 votes short. The argument was, and the way they went about the argument was, that there was an injury risk. That did not hold up, and thus is why you still have the tush push and why it's legal. That is the way the owners went about it, and those who wanted the tush push gone, that is how they decided to go about it. Fine. Didn't get it. Now, all of a sudden, you have all these officials. Now it's an officiating problem. It's a hard play to officiate. Now that's the issue with the tush push. Now we're jumping all over the place. Now it's, I hate this play. I can't officiate it now. Yeah, Dean Blandino on the Fox broadcast complaining about it, saying he doesn't like the play because he can't call it, can't figure it out, whatever. He's on the national broadcast talking about this. Then you have Adam Schefter, who I greatly respect. I have great respect for Dean Blandino, too. They have tough jobs. Adam Schefter, I love Adam Schefter. One of my favorite reporters, newsbreakers ever. He's awesome. He's fantastic. Bad take this morning on Get Up. Bad take. It was awful. Talking about that this game was decided in March because the tush push was allowed. I mean, come on. That's just hot take central for clicks. Come on, Schefter. He's got a tough job, and I respect him mightily for it. Those guys, the Shams of the world, the Wojs of the world, all those type of guys, right? I respect those guys for it. However, Shefty was dead wrong here, man. Dead wrong on this take with the tush push because the Eagles didn't win the game because of the tush push. It was a factor. I'm not going to say it wasn't a factor. It was definitely a factor in the ball game. 7 times they ran it, helped them get first downs. They're starting on 1st and 9 no matter what. I get that. However, we go through this game. There are plenty of other reasons as to why the Philadelphia Eagles won. And that's not just the tush push. And now it was not won in March, first of all. The Chiefs were 4 of 12 on 3rd down. They could not get a 3rd down conversion to save their life, and they had to go to 4th down a ton. And, they went for it in their own territory on 4th down, which was a questionable call in and of itself. Okay? That's number 1. And then the big one. Kelsey drops a massive touchdown in the end zone, tips it up. Drew McCool, takes it back, a little bit of a return for an interception there. So, with that, that's two factors right there as to why the Eagles won. They were getting stops on third down. Kelsey's turnover. You win the turnover battle 1-0. And you were also getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. They were getting good pressure on Patrick Mahomes. You had Jalen Carter back. And you even had Vic Fangio dialing up blitzes to pressure Mahomes, which was forcing him to either run or make mistakes. And he missed a couple of throws as well. So that's part of it too. So I don't want to hear that it's every week now that, it's because of the tush push, the Eagles are going to win. Yeah, it's an unstoppable play. It's not the only reason they won. The Chiefs had plenty of chances to go win that ball game, and they didn't. They didn't. So I'm not going to put all the onus on that. I'm just not going to do it. I think it's unfair. I think it's lazy. And the Chiefs had plenty of opportunities to go win that game. So that is my diatribe on the tush push. Okay. It's an unstoppable play. Any one of you can do it. Any one of those NFL teams can do it. So I'm about to say major league teams. Any of those NFL teams can do it. They can run it. It's a legal play. And if you're not going to call offsides or call a false start, that's on the officiating. They got to be better at that point then. I don't want to hear excuses from officials. They can't officiate it. It's right in front of you. You see it. You have replay assist. You have all this stuff, and you're not going to call it. That's on the NFL. You allow this play to continue, and every team's allowed to do it. The Eagles are the only ones who have perfected it. Be better at your job. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Be better at your job. Call it when you see it. If you see a false start, call it. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. If you see a guy lined up in the neutral zone, call it. And guess what? Multiple occasions on the tush push, you had guys moving on the Eagles line, and you had Kansas City Chiefs over the ball lined up in the neutral zone. So you're going to tell me, it's because of the tush push, and now it's a hard play to call. I mean, it's right there in front of you. You have two judges on each side looking at the line of scrimmage, and you're not going to call it? Really? It's the discussion around the tush push. It's just hurting my brain. It's a play that no one else can do. No one else is perfected but the Eagles. And because the Eagles are good at it, it's going to be turned into this thing now because it got passed in the offseason by a couple of votes that, this is the reason they're winning games. Give me a break. The Chiefs had multiple chances to win the games, and the Dallas Cowboys had multiple chances to go win the games. They did not execute. So don't give me this, it's because of the tush push. The Eagles can't be beaten. It's outrageous. There's so much more, especially in that Chiefs game that goes into it. So I'm out on the lazy takes. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right, we got Jeff chiming in. We love Jeff. He says, did you notice the terrible production from the Fox broadcast, or am I crazy? I didn't think it was that bad, Jeff. I didn't think it was that bad. I don't know really what you're referencing in particular. I mean, there could have been a moment. I mean, listen, as someone who's worked in live production for a while now, there's always mess ups. I didn't see anything too noticeable that I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. If you give me an example, maybe it will refresh my memory, but I thought it was fine. The tush push thing, I'm out. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff. Appreciate you. I can't take that conversation anymore. It's just getting outrageous, and it's always around the Eagles in Philadelphia. No one likes. We don't care. We know the drill. We know the drill by this point. All right, I want to move along. Talk about the Eagles' offense. Okay, this is where. Listen, they're 2-0. They've won 2 games. I'm happy about that. Jalen Hurts has done enough to win. All right, there is some concern. All right, looking at some of the numbers. And by the way, I want to preface this conversation about the Eagles offense with this, okay? It's week 2. Nobody plays in the preseason anymore. I don't even go by the first 4 weeks. You cannot go by the first 4 weeks. How were the first couple of weeks last year? Don't we remember? We were freaking out early on last year. We were freaking out about Kellen Moore's offense. Most of the season, I was kind of freaking out about Kellen Moore's offense, but that's another discussion for another day. We were freaking out for a little while last year, and it's the same thing this year. I'm going to take these first couple of weeks with a grain of salt Now, you don't want to be 0-2 like the Chiefs. First time in the Mahomes era that this is happening. You don't want that to happen. But you have a new offensive coordinator again, by the way, again. So let's give the quarterback credit and a couple of weeks to get into this new offense. All right, that's number one. Remember that it's a new offensive coordinator, new play caller. Not much is going to change, but it's still a new play caller, new voice that Jalen Hurts has to go over again because he loses a coordinator every year because the guy wins. Guy just wins. And by the way, before we break down the offense, did anybody see the Chris Jones comment towards Jalen Hurts at the end of the game? Video was going viral. I love that. That has been the offseason for Jalen Hurts and the Jalen Hurts discussion around is he elite? Is he not elite? That whole discussion. I thought it was a perfect encapsulation. Chris Jones telling Jalen Hurts, you're not even throwing for 100 yards, yelling at him while he's taking a knee to win the game. And Jalen chirps right back. He said a couple of curse words. I'm not going to say them on this program, but he did say, yeah, we're about to win, essentially. I'm paraphrasing at that point. So, yeah, Jalen arguing for the win, and you got Chris Jones over there, who's a loser, losing that game 0-2. Not a total loser. He's got a couple Super Bowls, but he is chirping at Hurts for not throwing that many pass yards. And then you have Hurts himself yelling back, we're about to win the bleeping game. It's been literally the conversation between fans, media members, etc. for months now. And Jalen's right. He wins. So you're 2-0. Were they ugly? Sure. Is it early? Sure. Do you have a new offensive coordinator? Sure. All of it. All of it plays a factor. It's week 2. I'm not going to take everything on this game. It's so early in the season. I mean, the first 4 weeks to me are preseason games for these guys. So that's where I'm at with that. All right. Now for the offense itself. Kevin Patullo. I'm not wholly impressed with him so far. Not loving the play calling. Very bland in my estimation. Very bland. I mean, he's running these quick slants, these square in routes, just very bland stuff. And you had Sirianni talking about in his press conference today, which I got to check out for a little bit, talking about essentially that they're not having those explosive plays yet, right? Like there's been a lack of explosive play design, plays, etc. You got to fix that. And in the first game, I noticed guys like giving up on routes early, not loving the route creation, not loving the creativity of the play calling, of the play design as well. That's what I've noticed throughout the first couple of weeks. It's been very bland overall, whether it's the play design, the play calling, all of it. Haven't loved it. Like quick slants, easy stuff. And guys are covered. I mean, they're not beating the cover 2. They're not beating the zone coverage. You saw it in the Dallas game as well. So you got to find a way to scheme yourself out of that if you're Patullo too. Like he's got a little bit of blame for why this offense has struggled. He just does at this point. So, I mean, if you look at some of the numbers on the Eagles right now and some of their offensive statistics, okay, I want to read a couple out for you. And it's not great. Yards per play, 30th in the league. Yards per rush, 20th. You need that to elevate. You haven't even seen them run the ball effectively. And, I know Saquon will break off in those big runs, right? And that'll elevate his numbers. But Saquon, I feel like, hasn't gotten going, right? I mean, the 3.9 yards per rush right now. Passing yards per game, 31st in the league. They're not getting that big play. They're not getting to the receivers like Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown as much as you want to. You didn't have Godart. Yes, Godart is a joke from the locker room if you listen to that show as well on 97.3 ESPN. But you're not getting those explosive plays. It feels like there's these like little bubble screens that aren't working. You're throwing behind the line of scrimmage, et cetera. You're not getting those type of plays, and it's just been so bland to start. And, if I'm A.J. Brown, I'd be a little frustrated. And I'm not going to fault him for wanting the football. The guy's a competitor. You want to get the football. And Sirianni even said if he's not upset, I might not respect him. You know what I mean? Like he wants the football. And if you're a wide receiver getting paid that much money, you're going to want the football as well. And he can make an impact on the game. So I'm not going to put it on Hurts. I just think it's early in the season, new offensive coordinator. Guy hasn't called plays before, but they're not getting those explosive plays, and they're not getting those big runs from Saquon yet. He hasn't kind of broken off one. They haven't been kind of getting those chunk plays as you like. I mean, they've won, which they've done enough. And guess what? They have 0 turnovers so far in 2 games. None. 0. And that's the big difference. They're not turning the football over. And there still are some positives on the offensive side. They are perfect on 4th down right now via the tush push. So that's huge, right? You're perfect on 4th down. You love to see it. They're 5th in the NFL right now on 3rd down. They're converting their plays 3rd down. And you're also getting a good job and big kicks out of Jake Elliott too. They haven't scored a ton so far, but you're getting big kicks out of him. So he's hitting those 50-plus yarders. So that's a positive as well. And, I know I'm talking about kicking, but I'm just saying that those are points you're putting on the board. And with those 3rd down conversions, you're extending drives. So that's what's happening with the Birds. There's some positives. They're converting on 3rd down. Hurts has been efficient, and they're not turning the football over. That's a recipe for success. Very much so. That's why they're 18-1 out of their last 19. That's the best in that stretch in their history of their franchise. That's why they keep winning, because he's been efficient. He's doing what he needs to do to win. I want to see more, and I think most people want to see more. You have all these weapons. You have 10 out of 11 starters returning. You want to get A.J. Brown the football. You want to get Devontae Smith the football. You want to get Saquon his carries. You want him to break one off too. So there's a lot of mouths to feed. That's a difficult thing to get everybody involved. And Batula, as a young offensive coordinator, I think they'll get better as the season goes along. I'm not going to read everything, all of it, into this week or the past week. You just beat 2 good football teams. I don't know if I want to say Dallas is a good football team. They should have lost to the Giants. That game was insane. 37-37 heading into overtime. Somehow the Giants did not win that game. That's an issue. But Dallas is a division foe. It's first game of the year. Thursday Night Football, opening after the Super Bowl, good win. You got the W there. And then you go into Arrowhead. After a Chiefs loss in Brazil, they're coming in ready to go. I know they're missing their top receivers, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. You're still heading into Arrowhead. That's a tough place to play, and you beat him. Jalen Hurts has now beaten him 3 times, Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not going to slouch at the win at all. I think it was a very impressive win. It was a defensive battle from the start, and you got to give credit to the defense. The defense has looked really good so far, and you got to give credit where credit's due. They've played well. I mean, and you got credit to Vic for drawing up a couple of blitzes to throw Mahomes off a little bit. They get 2 sacks on him. They fluster him a little bit, and that's all you needed. You got to win those type of games. Those are the type of games you have to win. Now, this can't be an every week thing. This can't be 2023 where it's like, they're winning the games though. Yeah. But you're going to have to start scoring some points one week, right? You're going to have to get those guys involved. You're going to have some of those explosive plays at some point. But, I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, you can't sit here and complain. They're 2-0 right now, coming off as a Super Bowl. They beat the Chiefs, the Super Bowl rematch. They win that. They beat the Cowboys. Stop complaining. Just stop complaining. They're 2-0. They've won the football games. And has it been pretty? No. Will we see some pretty wins? I hope so, and I think we will. It's week 2. New offensive coordinator. No preseason. I'm going to be a little bit patient. I'm more patient than I once was. I don't need them to get rolling and score 45 points in week 1. That's great. Lamar Jackson can go score 45 points. Josh Allen can go do it too. Guess what? They don't have a Super Bowl. I want the guy that wins. Find a way to win. Find ways to win. The Eagles are doing that. My guy Jovan chiming in. He says, I miss the days of the old-fashioned running back screen, and the Eagles could dominate with that play. I love that. Love that. I mean, the running back screen, is awesome. However, Saquon's got to learn how to catch the football. I mean, there is sometimes. Now, it's not all the time. But, man, does he drop some, wide open passes and make some dumb mistakes in the passing game sometimes? Isn't it pretty goofy? I think it's hilarious. He's the best running back we've ever seen. Had one of the best running back seasons ever last year. And remember that loss against Atlanta, dropped the football. He had a drop in the Dallas game. Like, it's so goofy to me, like that he like has these goofy drops and like these big spots. But I do love the old fashioned running back screen. Jovan also says that's the problem. They need to establish a run to open up the passing game. The one explosive they could have had on Sunday was the Calcaterra his block. Yeah, he did. That's what happens when you don't have Godart in there. That's what happens when you don't have Godart. Angelica chiming in. Thank you for that. 100. I agree with it too. I did say it, so I hope I agree. But I appreciate you sending in, chiming in, watching the program. But yeah, I think just don't freak out after 2 weeks. All right, they're 2-0. Like, relax. There's problems. I just laid out some of the numbers offensively. There's concern there. There's concern. You're at the bottom of the barrel right now, and I believe I'm not mistaken. They're about 80 yards less. Is it total yards per game or in the pass game, whatever it may be? They're about 80 yards less than where they were last year. That's significant. So it's 2 games. You played 2 really good teams, and you have a tough schedule this year. You do. You have a really tough schedule. So I'm not going to be freaking out this early, though. I think we're so quick, especially in Philly social media, Philly sports social media. We treat everything like life or death in every play, and we do it in baseball. We cross over to like basketball and hockey. We treat it like life and death, like 1 game per week. I understand we do it with the Eagles because it's 1 game per week, but my goodness, it's week 2. You're 2-0. There's nothing to complain about. Nothing. You're 2-0. You got 2 wins. If you're arguing about Jalen Hurts winning football games and not doing it in an aesthetically pleasing way and not putting up those 400-yard passing games, then don't complain when they're 2-0. Okay? If you were defending Jalen, don't do that. Don't do it. I'm going to call you out if I see it. If I see it, I'm going to call you out. Don't do it. They're 2-0. There's some issues on the offensive side, on the play calling side, on the play design side. Just give it a couple weeks. New coordinator. They're 2-0. They got talented players. They're bringing back 10 of 11 guys from last year. So just relax. Just relax. All right. Let's switch gears. We're going to talk a little baseball. And the Phillies don't play. God, it's like a little less than an hour. But my goodness, does anyone else? I'll get into it. I'll get into the late starts. They just are the worst. They are just the worst. There's nothing like those late starts. They're just awful. We'll get into those. Yesterday was Sunday. Phil's clinch playoff berth by virtue of a San Francisco Giants loss. So that's how they get into the postseason. They have not clinched the division yet. They could do it tonight at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, geez, I'm going to fall asleep like right after this. So it's like, I'm going to try and stay up as long as I can. Probably set an alarm around like 1 o'clock so I can at least catch the end. I got a couple of jobs. I'm very, I try and watch as much as I can and, get the recaps and all that. Oh, during the week, man, it's rough. It's rough when you have full-time, part-time gigs. Oh, it's brutal. But they did clinch the berth. They have not clinched the division yet. The magic number is 1. The Mets won yesterday. They had the fans stay even after they lost to the Royals, watch the Mets game. That went into extras with Texas. Texas also in a race of their own. So that went late. And they ended up winning in a walk-off fashion. So the Mets, if they lost that game, Phillies would have won the division. But that did not happen, so you got to wait another day. Like, that would have been a great Sunday. Like a Hurts Tush push win over the Chiefs. I think I tweeted it out. And a Joan Duran entrance to clinch the division. That would have been nice. Did not happen, unfortunately. But listen, the Mets, they got their win. They snapped their 8-game losing streak. Good for them. They might even fall out of the playoffs anyway. As it stands right now, it's Dodgers-Mets, and the winner of that series would play the Phillies as it stands at the moment. But the Mets do not play tonight. They are back in action, I believe, tomorrow night. They take on the Padres. So they're on a West Coast trip as well, if I'm not mistaken. No, they go to New York. All right, so they go to New York for that game at Citi Field. Doesn't matter. This thing's going to be wrapped up pretty pretty quickly, to say the least. But yeah, yesterday's game, that game against the Royals was important because you had Aaron Nola starting. Now I want to give you a little Aaron Nola nugget. All right, if you listen to me on 97.3, I'm on Nick's Nuggets every day at 4:30. Aaron Nola, in 7 previous games in which the Phillies could clinch a postseason berth, a division title, or a postseason series, he was 4-1 with a 1.62 ERA. Yesterday, 4 innings of scoreless baseball. Retired 9 in a row. I believe to start the game, it was 9 in a row. It was back and forth between that and football. And he then in the middle innings just starts falling apart completely. I mean, just falling apart. And I've been sticking up for Nola. I want to see that guy. And, I just laid out the numbers. 7 previous games, they could clinch a division title, a postseason berth, or clinch a postseason series. 4-1 with a 1.62 ERA. That's damn good. I want that guy on the mound. That is a guy that I trust. He's got a clutch gene. I love guys with clutch genes. That's my favorite kind of guy, is a guy with a clutch gene. He has it. Not yesterday. And it's not like there was a ton of pressure yesterday to clinch a spot in the postseason late in September. I mean, they're clinching it pretty early here. But he goes the 4, and he looked good. And you're like, all right, they got a shot. And then he just imploded. He just totally imploded. And he talked about it after the game. It's like he has that inning where he just totally falls apart, leaves a hanger over the middle, gives up a bomb or 2. And it's the Nola coaster that we're just so used to. In the 5th, 6th, it's like he starts just giving up dinger after dinger. And he knows it. And, his ERA is like over 6 now this year. And it just raises the question, like, how confident can you be with him in the postseason? I got in this argument today on the radio. And Mike Gill and I were talking about it. I don't think he's on the side. I don't think he knows where he wants Nola to go. I think you still go Nola in the postseason. I just laid out those numbers in those big games. He seems to come up clutch. Not yesterday. So it's like, all right, you're going to go Sanchez, Suarez. That's games 1 and 2. You piggyback the lefties off each other. I don't care. That's already set in stone. Preferably would love Ranger to come out of the pen, but with the Zach Wheeler injury, all that, that you can't really do that at this point. The problem is here, and then you run into game 3, whether it's the DS, it's going to be the DS, probably won't be the wild card when you clinch the division here. The problem is you run into that game 3 issue, and it depends on the matchup. And we were talking about this before. The Dodgers are a favorable matchup when you have lefties on the mound. You prefer that because lefty-lefty instead of lefty-righty. They have guys like Ohtani, Freeman's of the world. They lefty dominant, especially in their top guys in their lineup. So you could go the route of Sanchez game 1, Ranger game 2, Luzardo game 3. You could go that route, 3 straight lefties, and just rock with it. Or I don't know if I love Luzardo coming out of the pen. Plus, Luzardo struggled when he was with Miami against the Phillies when he pitched against the Phillies in the postseason in that wild card series. So I don't love his history there. But then you could go Nola in game 3, and that's the thought. They go Nola game 3. Guy's been there, done that. Rob Thompson's even talked about it. Like, hey, we trust Nola. We like, he's been there before. He has the experience. And, I mentioned those games where they could clinch something. He's pitched relatively well heading into yesterday. And he pitched well for 4 innings. It's like when he starts getting into the 3rd time around the lineup, he is like done. And then I know he had that great start against the Mets, but you got to see it more than once. And he pitched well up until that point. 5th inning, 6th inning, starts to give up the dingers. So you run into this issue. Could you piggyback Nola? Could you start Nola, maybe get him through 3 or 4, and then go to Luzardo or go to a Walker Buehler who you just signed? Get a couple more innings out of those guys so you're not taxing the bullpen throughout the postseason and go that route. You could. I think it's a possibility. Let Nola go as long as he wants, and then if he starts falling apart, pull him right away. You got Walker Buehler or Luzardo to come right in. That's something that they feasibly could do. They feasibly could do that. So they're in a tough spot, and they were in a tough spot anyway with the amount of depth they had with Wheeler. Who's going to be your 3? It would have been Wheeler, Sanchez. You go Ranger. Now I think you have to go Ranger, right? So you had a decision to make anyway, because did you want Nola to start in the first place? Now you have to make the decision, well, who gives us the best shot, or do we just ride with all of them in game 3? You could piggyback him and just get as many innings possible out of him before he really starts falling apart. Or if he falls apart early, then you could go to a guy like a Luzardo or a Buehler, and they can eat innings in a game 3 and pitch well, by the way. And you could still win the game. It's not like you're giving up. You could still win the game because those guys been there, done that. Like Walker Buehler has postseason experience. The guy closed out the World Series last year. I don't love Nola's stuff coming out of the bullpen. This is why you run into this problem. He doesn't throw hard, and I don't think he hasn't come out of the pen. So I don't love him coming out of the pen. Buehler's come out of the pen once to close out the World Series. So at least he's showing he's got a little bit of stones. But they have a decision to make with that third starter. They really do. And, do you want to be loyal to the guy that you gave a contract to? It's pitched here big games plenty of times for you. Do you want to go that route? Or do you start the guy you just signed off the street who struggled in Boston? Or do you go to Luzardo and go 3 straight lefties? Depends on the matchup. If you face the Dodgers, it's a real option. It's a real option for the Phillies. But listen, they're going to start in a little bit. I hate these 10 o'clock starts. So this week, the Phillies, it's just so brutal. Looking at their schedule, 10-10 tonight, 10-10 tomorrow, 10-10 on Wednesday, off day Thursday. So no Phillies on Thursday. Friday, 9:40. They're against Arizona. Saturday, 8:10. Oh, and then Sunday, you're back to 4 o'clock, 4:10. But what time do the Eagles play this week? They are at 1 o'clock. So you got 1 o'clock Eagles and right into Phillies at 4. But that game might not even matter at that point. You're just kind of playing for seeding. I can't tell you how much I cannot stand these late starts. These West Coast trips are the worst. What an awful time to start that. So I just got to get off my chest. Jovan, I totally agree. Late starts in summer are fine. I still don't like them. September is even worse. Still don't like them in the summer. But when you get to September, fall, you got all these sports on, lot to watch, lot going on, especially if you work in media, sports. I mean, you're running all over the place, okay? Awful that the whole week they're on a West Coast trip. That's just brutal. It sucks because of the schedule. Now, this is something I want to also bring up. The doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Oh, the doubleheader on Monday Night Football is brutal. Brutal. I mean, you have 2 games here, okay? You got the Bucks and you got the Texans. By the way, Nico Collins had an amazing catch to start this game for a touchdown. You got that game starting at 7. So we're already an hour earlier, which is okay. Don't hate that. But then you got a 10 o'clock Monday Night Football game, Chargers-Raiders. I want to watch Herbert. I want to see these Chargers. They just beat the Chiefs in their opener. They look good. Plus, I have Lad McConkey on my fantasy team. That's actually the real reason I want to watch my game, and it's a nail biter. 10 o'clock start, Monday Night Football doubleheader, 2 games. I'm so out on the Monday Night Football doubleheader. So out on it. And they've done games where it's at the same time. That might even take the cake when they start them at the same time, and one's on ESPN and one's on ABC. Oh, it's like there's red zone for a reason. Put all the games at 1 and 4 o'clock. You got the Sunday night, the Monday night, and then starting the next week, the Thursday night. I want one primetime game, not like 8 of them at once. Out on that. I don't know how you guys feel. I am totally not a fan of the Monday night doubleheader. Oh, it's just grinds my gears. Now, if you got a couple of TVs you want to set up or a laptop, I mean, I guess. But, like, I want one primetime game. Just stick to the one. All right. That's what we got. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, Nernshaw Radio, at Nernshaw Radio. Special thanks to BFA Sports as well. We're streaming on that channel too. I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Those who commented, those who reposted, like, subscribe. Nernshaw Radio every Monday and Wednesday, 9 a.m. Or 9 a.m. Oh, gosh, it's 9 p.m. I'm never going to make it through this Phillies game. 9 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. That's when we will go live. I want to preface it with this. No interview this week. No guest. We'll be back just chopping it up. You can comment, subscribe. We'll talk about stuff going into next week, etc. But no interview this week. No guest this week. Flying solo on Wednesday. Hopefully next week, I think we'll have another guest working on that at the moment. So that'll be a lot of fun. But I'll see you back again Wednesday, 9 p.m. Nernshaw Radio. Like, subscribe, repost, do it all. Nernshaw Radio on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, TikTok, and all the platforms as well. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope everyone has a great night. Hopefully you stay awake. Maybe we'll talk about a division title on Wednesday. I might have the shirt by then. I usually go out the next day. I hope that happens. I'm going to set an alarm to watch them clinch the division tonight. All right, I'm out. Nernshaw Radio, Nick Earnshaw, signing off. Peace.